Good day, everyone. This is Pilot Niels, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello, everything is fine over here. How are things in Ravenloft?
Same old, same old. Weather's weird. There's mist. There's Bastani everywhere.
Usual stuff.
It's a thing.
Has the snow gone away?
Sort of, kind of, because Mother Nature is weird and can't make up its mind, so now it's like spring-like. It was toll on winter, now it's spring, and then who knows what'll be next. We just have to wait day by day to see what the weather brings us here in Barovia.
Well, sometimes wind patterns probably have trouble leaving Barovia.
That pesky mist does tend to stop the wind from moving around. That is very true.
Let's then head into our game news for this week, where we have a letter from executive producer Severlin. And the question is there anything sinister in this letter?
Oh, Pineleaf, you are the master of doing the little segue, aren't you? You are a podcasting pro, my friend. A professional right here. If you want to know how to podcast, listen to Pineleaf and his segues, folks. That's what you call foreshadowing.
Oh, I thought you were calling it sarcasm.
Well, sure, there's that, too. I was trying to be nice, but fine. If you want me to get salty, I will. Okay, let's stop while we're ahead. Okay, yeah, we do have our executive producer's letter, as promised. Came out this morning and starts out, Happy 15th Anniversary, DDO! We are excited to reach this milestone and are ever thankful to our players for making this possible. Today, I'll be talking about some of the plans for the rest of the year and letting you know what we are looking forward to.
Yeah?
In the coming weeks, we will be celebrating in House Bjarlin as we bring out an updated anniversary event. This year's event features a few minor updates to the challenge itself, along with a large number of new items added to the reward list. We're also bringing back all of our house-specific Eberron cloaks in the rewards list that we gave you a few years ago for our anniversary. Just in case you missed one or missed it, we'll be adding a new cosmetic helm and a new cosmetic pet as well. Also, we'll be distributing 2 special gifts to everyone. One will be something your character wears as a cosmetic. The other is something your character can equip. More on that in a bit. Also, the release of the new raid, The Dryad and the Demigod, marks the grand finale of the Fables of the Feywild expansion. This raid is going to feature music of our in-house composer, Bill Champagne, and we like to think of this raid as unlike any other you may have seen before. The idea of a musical raid has been kicking around for quite a while in the office, and we think players of all types will find something special here. Anyone who has purchased Fables of the Feywild will have access to the new raid. A little plug for us. If you want to learn more about that, listen to a couple episodes ago when we interviewed Bill Champagne about this raid and the music that he makes for DDO and Lotro.
Now, concerning the musical raid, it sounds like that there are 1 or 2 people who don't like the idea.
There's a lot of people that don't like the idea.
Okay.
That's the point. Yeah.
We will hope that they win, that they manage to win those players over then.
I don't think so, but we'll see. Okay. Yeah, it's not good times on the forums right now. Anyway, enough of that. Spring also brings us the first Hardcore League season of 2021. The 4th Hardcore season is going to feature some new and returning guests in the form of the minions of the 9 Delcor Lords. You've met the Lord of Eyes and the Lord of Stone, but have you met the rest? They're also planning to run a 5th season of Hardcore that will be coming later this year.
The Delcor Lords. And who exactly are the Delcor Lords?
There's actually
Or
8.
what is their common link? I guess.
They're all from Zoriat. They're Zoriat
Okay, Zoria
lords.
people.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's interesting they're doing this because well, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to guess at what's coming up, but yes, they are from Zoriat, and there are 8, 9, 10. It seems like to me there's more than 10 lords, but there is Belashira, who was the Lord of Eyes. There's Dern, who was the Corruptor, I think. God, you're making me do this all from the top of my head.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. There's a Prince of Slime, who is, I think his name's like Curzon, something like that. Orlask is the Lord of Stone. There is one called the Stained One. He is the Lord of like Illithids of Beholders, stuff like that. There's a Twister of Roots, cannot remember his name. And then there is the Valera, the Crawling Queen, who is like the Lord of the Worms, spiders, and stuff like that. That's the only ones I can remember. I think there might be more, but I can't remember. Like I said, that was all from memory. So please let me. Hopefully,
Okay.
I was right.
Let's see. Okay, yes, I see that the article at the wiki says, okay, Lord of Eyes, the Corruptor, the
Okay.
Prince of Slime,
Okay.
Lord of Stone, the
Yep.
Stained One,
Yep.
Twister of Roots,
Yep.
the Crawling Queen,
Wow.
and two more that appear only in novels, apparently. The Master of Silence and Ygithrin.
Okay.
Something like that.
I never read any of the novels, so I wouldn't know that. But okay, wow, I actually got them all from memory. Wow. That's like going way back in my memory banks too, because that's a
Okay.
long time ago that I ever did anything. Because I had one DM that was really into like all the Eberron lore and Zoriat lore for a while, so we had to run all that weird stuff. He always did all that weird
Okay.
stuff for us. But wow, okay, wow, I remember more than I thought I did. Dang. So yes, so let's see. There you go. So Hardcore League, gonna have a Zoriat twist apparently. Delcor Lords. More information as it comes closer. Spring is also going to bring update 49. That will include 4 dungeons where you're going to help Morgrave University hunt down lost relics in a series of adventures that feel somewhat, quote, Indiana Jones-like, end quote. Alongside this adventure pack is going to be the bow combat style revamp, and the bows are going to get new animations.
Okay.
So an Indiana Jones-like adventure set. Well,
It sounds like if it's going to be with a boat, it sounds more like Laura Croft.
yeah, but I mean, I guess I can see because you're hunting down lost relics, so I can kind of see the tie-in to Indiana Jones, but I can also see the tie-ins to Tomb Raider as well too. So I guess we'll see what we do. But I don't know. That's kind of exciting. Also, this summer is going to release the first, wait for it, mini expansion to Dungeons and Dragons Online. This is the latest classic adventure. The new classic pack is going to be the Sinister Secret of the Salt Marsh. An evil alchemist mansion stands alone on a cliff, and mysterious lights and hauntings have kept people away despite rumors of great treasure. What is the secret? Debuting alongside this classic adventure will be the next universal enhancement tree called the Horizon Walker. This is going to focus on marking and neutralizing extraplanar and other enemies with a bow. As we get closer to the release of Salt Marsh, we're going to have more information about what to expect from a DDO mini expansions. The lessons that we learned from the Lord of the Rings first mini expansion last year, and the plans to give more value to VIPs.
We will have to find out about that. But as for that mansion on the cliff, I don't know if you remember this, but a few years ago I had done that Minecraft build where built the
That's
mansion?
the first thing I thought about, actually.
Yes.
When I read this, I'm like, oh, Piley did this in Minecraft.
So I should have some idea what that mansion looks like.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about, I don't know if I did it for, I can't even think of what the last classic pack that came out was now. That's horrible. My mind's going blank. White Plume, was that the last classic pack we got?
What about Borderlands? Was that?
Oh, Borderlands. That's right. Yeah, I don't know if I did it for Borderlands, but all the other ones up to that, I've always put a post over on DDO Players, just kind of explaining what the classic module was about and stuff. So I will probably do that for Saltmarsh too, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that if you've never played tabletop, you probably have no clue what Saltmarsh is about.
Yeah. Right, because if I didn't do the research in order to make that Minecraft build, I
Right.
would never have
Right.
heard of it. Well, actually, I would have known it because it was the revamped adventure a year or two ago.
Yes, I'm gonna say, and that I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah, it was recently revamped for 5e, which I will try to, if I remember, link a review for that. We did a review on that module. I'd have to go back and find it. It was a couple of years ago, but so yeah, there you go. We'll talk about the mini expansion here in a bit. Then Seb goes on to say this fall we're going to feature a new adventure and a new raid revolving around the Wild Hunt, as well as a significant update to the Epic Destiny system. They are restructuring the core of the system, modernizing some trees, and redesigning some others. They are going to make Epic Destinies more versatile by allowing players to have multiple Destinies active at the same time. Thank God for that.
Yes, because I think that's one of the reasons why, as soon as I got to epic levels, the first thing I did was TR. What is this? I don't understand a word of this.
And then we'll talk about that in a bit too, because we're going to talk about the chat that Cordovan and Seb had today, and they kind of explained a little bit more about that Epic Destiny, so we'll talk about that in a second. Seb wraps up his letter with other things to look forward to this year, including a new Monster Manualium, a free dungeon to wrap up the year, updates to some various festivals, and more. We want to thank you for continuing to make this game and community thrive, and we look forward to making 2021 a fantastic year for DDO.
Now, concerning this, they said that the raid is the conclusion of the Feywild, but isn't the Wild Hunt in Feywild?
I was confused about that as well.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're doing something different or it's going to tie into the Feywild as well, which makes no sense. I don't know. I was totally confused about that.
Or is it that the Wild Hunt storyline has nothing to do with the Feywild storyline, and thus they consider the storyline from the Feywild to be concluded and not necessarily trips to the Feywild?
Maybe. I mean, all the above? I don't know.
Okay.
I had questions about that too, because I was super confused when I read that. Let's touch on Saltmarsh to begin with.
Okay.
Didn't see Saltmarsh coming. No inkling whatsoever. Like I said, I was trying to even make a wild shot in the dark about what the next classic pack was going to be. Saltmarsh was not even on my radar. Not one of them I would even consider. Looking forward to what they do, though, because I do enjoy Saltmarsh. And judging by what they've done with other classic packs, I think they can pull it off pretty well because they seem to do classic modules well, what they can do, and they translate it into DDO. You know, they kind of put some twist on it to make it gamified, as it were. So looking forward to it. Mini expansion, though. Not sure about that. They did say, and like I said, we'll talk about this when we talk about the chat here in a minute. But they did kind of go into that, and they did say that they are looking to giving more values to VIPs because that was one of the big complaints on the Lord of the Rings side They had their first mini expansion come out
Yeah.
last year, which
Yeah. Well, the Lotro one also had the disadvantage of that there was so little notice
okay,
of the
that
other major lesson learned.
that's fair too. But the biggest thing I think, the biggest complaint people had was uh, since it had the expansion word in it,
Yeah.
VIPs have to buy it. And it was not at a discounted price because it was a mini expansion. It was like a full blown expansion price.
Well,
So
with
I
well, I know he
will.
talks about it. Oh,
No, go ahead.
he talks about it in the chat
Yes,
concerning, and I have
yes,
a feeling that there is going to be something like a discount or something like
yeah.
that for
That's you
VIPs.
gotta say, and we're gonna talk about that. So I mean, coming from like I don't. Full disclosure, I don't play Lotro anymore. I've been meaning to like reinstall it and jump back into it casually, as it were, but I just haven't got around to it yet. So, Pine Leaf, you host a Lotro podcast. You play Lotro a
Right.
lot. What's your kind of thoughts and your feelings on DDO doing a mini expansion after Lotro did it and it didn't go so well on that side?
Well, I guess I don't understand all the. I guess I was on the periphery of all those complaints that you're talking about on them because I didn't have a lot of the same complaints. Now, there are a lot of people there who that concerning the way the landscape is, because the landscape is literally like a World War I war zone.
Well, I mean,
And
with the title like War of the Three Peaks, sure.
yeah, so the word war in there is understandable, but I was not expecting World War I.
Okay, okay.
Yes, for example, trenches all over the place, mustard gas, and
Oh, yeah,
some of the
okay.
mobs out there are, and of course some large packs of mobs. I know, big go figure, war. So those are the type of complaints that I've been hearing about on getting through because of all the mustard gas and trying to navigate all the trenches and things like that. Those were the types of complaints I've heard on the matter, and they were trying to get a review show done on War of the Three Peaks. So that's why I don't want to go too much into that at the moment.
Okay, okay.
But we're trying to get a member of the podcast team who's been out for the last couple months. We wanted his voice in it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So we haven't had the review. We may just have to do it without him though, because it's getting pretty close to the next update, and we obviously don't want to put it off till after the update.
Right, right. So okay, so yeah, so it'll be interesting. Like I said, I'm
Yeah.
excited about Saltmarsh though. That I'm excited about. Super
But
excited about Update
yeah.
49 with the Indiana Jones like thing. That sounds like
Mhm.
some old school D&D fun. That's what I'm picturing at least. I mean, they could do it totally different.
So that's the producer's letter, but of course, we also had a chat where much of the producer's letter stuff was brought up and several other things,
Yeah,
and you've got quite a list here.
yeah. Well, I kind of just took some quick notes as soon as I got home from work. I was eating and I was watching this. Well, kind of more like listening to it, not really watching it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I kind of took some notes, just like some highlights. I know I missed a bunch of stuff here, but I just kind of highlighted the stuff that I thought was the highlights of the chat. It was really informative and really good. I do link it in the show notes. It's up on YouTube. It's on the Twitch feed as well too, so you can get it either place. But the link is over in the show notes, so you can get it. But yeah, Seb did sit down with Cordovan today during the weekly Wednesday live stream, and they just started talking. First point they brought up was about Saltmarsh, and it was in Seb's word, Saltmarsh would have been too big for an expansion pack. The scope of it.
You mean too big for a
Or I'm
regular?
sorry, not expansion pack. Yes, for an adventure pack. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, after I said that, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Yes, it would have been too big for an adventure pack. And it wasn't quite big enough for an expansion, so that's why they decided they would do the mini expansion on it. Seb said there's probably going to be 8 or 9. Once again, a guess, not a commitment, but probably 8 or 9 dungeons in it. So that's what we can kind of maybe look forward to. He did stress the fact that that was just a number he was throwing out. This is all still a work in progress. They're still working on it. They're still kind of hashing stuff out, but probably around 8 or 9 dungeons. And he did realize, going back to some of the, shall we say, feedback they got over on the Lotro side, that the VIP should get a little more bonus out of this. And that would be a discount on buying the base pack adventure or mini expansion are some bonus items. That is something they're looking into. He said the tech that they need to make that happen, they're working on that now, and that's being put into place, and it should be available to use by the time the mini expansion arrives. He didn't go into detail on what that tech would be, so again, that's just what he said. He said they do realize VIP needs to feel that the mini expansion is worthwhile to them as a VIP. They just don't want it to seem like, you're a VIP, you pay monthly or you pay yearly, and now we're making you buy this little mini expansion as well. So that's it. He did realize, as I said, due to some of the feedback they received, that the Lotro mini expansion was not as attractive as usual, and the features could be improved upon. So they're going to take what they learned from Lotro, hopefully make it better in DDO. Time will tell.
We will have to find out.
We'll see. Then the lag issue was brought up a couple times. People asked questions about the lag. He said they are actively working on it. They have hired several more techs to deal with the lag issues, and they are hiring more people. So they are getting more technical people in for the lag. The lag issue, he said, it's hard to nail down because it's a lot of things. It's the servers. It's also the internet. They noticed weird things with the internet during the whole COVID lockdown, which I've heard other people say, that you just get weird pings for some reason all of a sudden and a horrible net connection, and then it's good. So might be just because there's a lot more people using the net now because everybody's was stuck at home. Slowly things are getting back to quote unquote normal, but
maybe where you live,
whatever normal is, right? But yeah, so he did say they're actively working on it. They're hiring techs. There's a lot that goes into it. They hear us. They know there's lag issues. They're working on it.
Yes.
The question of mega servers was brought up. That was brought up a long time ago. And he said they want to do those. They've looked at doing those. Not even going to consider it until they get the lag under control.
Yeah, it is hard to believe we got half the people complaining about lag and the other half asking for mega servers.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Once they get the lag under control, they'll look at it. They did actually do some tests on it, though, and he said it was pretty surprising that they found out when they tested it, they had some really unforeseen issues with the master server. He didn't go into details on it, but he said they learned some interesting things. So take that for what you will.
Maybe something they could apply to getting rid of the lag.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But so mega servers, they're considering it. Don't look for it anytime soon. Like anytime soon. I.e., stop asking about it because it's not going to happen soon. They know people want them. They want to do them. Just let's move on. Speaking of beating a dead horse,
yeah,
the TR cache was brought up. He iterated once again for the probably millionth and 27th time. It is not meant to be a long-term storage solution. It was never meant to be that. Players
Oh,
are using it as that. Don't do that. Not what it's there for.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, go
In
ahead.
Lotro, people use the mail as a long-term
Yeah.
storage system.
You're never going to get an update to the TR cache because it's not a storage system. They're looking at giving us some better storage options, like a place where we can store character-bound items and stuff like that. They're looking at working on storage. TR cache is not in the realm of that because it's not a storage system. Stop using it as a storage system. I think every chat they have, every time we've had the devs on, that question has been asked. They say the same thing. It's not storage, people. Don't use it as storage. Anyway, the question about cosmetic bags were brought up. They would like to do that. It's going to be very, very difficult. They're looking at it. They're looking into it. The problem they're having is the way the mirror of glamoring works is when you glamour something with the mirror of glamoring, it actually links to the real item, and that is a nightmare for them to be able to do like a cosmetic. Which, if you play Lotro, their other game, they have a pretty decent cosmetic storage system over there. And that's why people are saying, why can't you do that over in DDO? Well, the games are different.
Yeah.
So, and the code, like, I think they described it, one of the devs at one point when we were talking to the devs, described it as at one point the code started out to be the same, but after 15 years of DDO, they're nothing like. The two games are worlds apart now in their code. So that's why, just because like DDO has something, they can't do it in Lotro and vice versa, because Lotro has a feature they probably maybe can do it in DDO, but it's not as simple as just, oh, we'll just copy the code from Lotro over to DDO. It unfortunately doesn't work that way. We all wish it did, but it didn't. So cosmetic bag, looking into it, very, very difficult. They're trying to come up with something. What they did manage to do, though, and Seb would actually like to make this free to everyone, which they did show off a early draft of this on the stream today, but we're going to get a... I'm not sure if we want to call it like a horse stable or a horse bag. Not exactly sure what we should
It's
call
a
it.
horse interface because it's a new tab on the interface screen
Okay.
right after the pets.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's exactly where it was. Like I said, Quarterman kind of showed off a rough draft of this today. Yeah, it's a new interface tab. You go into it. It's kind of like with your cosmetic pets. All your horses are there. Your all mounts are tokens, and once you put them into your inventory, they will shoot over into that mount inventory tab or interface, whatever we're going to call it. And then you don't have to have a token for each horse then. So it's kind of like with your cosmetic pets. Once you click on the cosmetic pet, it puts it in your cosmetic pet stable, as it were. So you can pull the pet out anytime you want just by going into that, clicking on it. Same thing with the horses. They said this was kind of difficult, but it was less problematic for them than the cosmetic bags. They ran into some issues with this, but they managed to get some workarounds. And it seemed like just from the early, I don't know if this is like a early alpha build or how far into it. They didn't really say how far into the programming of it was, but it looked pretty good and it seemed to work okay. So that's kind of exciting. That's coming. Because that's one thing I do notice. I have a couple different horses, and it's like I don't want to take up the inventory space in my bags. Just to like maybe I want to ride this horse one day, or maybe I want to ride the black unicorn. Well, I got to have space for each one of those to click on. So thank you for this. But like I said, Seb wants to make this free for everyone. He'd like to get it out in time to kind of celebrate the anniversary. His words were something like, happy 15th anniversary. Here's this cool new feature that we are giving you guys. So hopefully they can get that out during the anniversary or for the anniversary. So it looks like they're, like I said, doing a pretty good job on it so far. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Just hope it works.
And then they talked about Hardcore a little bit, Hardcore 2021 seasons. The first season coming up in April, and then they're going to do another one, but don't look for it as soon as they were last year, because if you remember last year, the two seasons were pretty close together. Not so much this time. They're going to space them out more this time. And then the question of hireling AI was brought up. Seb said one of the major issues in doing that is the monster AI and the hireling AI are two totally different systems. He would really, really love to do a full-on blown update for the hireling AI so players could get more use out of them. It's something on the table. They're looking into it. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of engineering resources to do, but they would like to fix hirelings because we all know sometimes they're kind of dumb. I mean, sometimes they work okay. Other times they're like, what are you doing? That's not what I told you to do. Another question that comes up a lot, 4K scaling. Are we ever going to get it? In the long term, yes, we are. They want to do it, but it's not that simple. It breaks down to UI scaling is very, very hard to do, and to scale all of the UI so it would be able to upscale to 4K is going to require every piece of artwork to be redone, which is a very massive job. So they're looking into it. He did say that everybody in the office would like it. He personally would like it. If you have a 4K monitor, you would like it because it's really tiny if you don't. So they're looking into it. Massive job. They want to do it. It's just not going to be easy. Psionics were brought up again. They still want to do those. They need to finish up the spell work and get some balance work done first, and then they would do that. The interesting thing that he kind of...
They may consider it. I don't think they said that they will do it.
Well, that's true. It's on the table. They want to do it, especially Seb. Seb really wants to do it. He really wants to get Psionics into the game. So yeah, I guess I should say he didn't promise it. He said they'll look into it, but there's a lot of stuff in front of it before they get to that. The most important thing that I got out of this when he was talking about this is they know how much work it's going to be to do this because of the Alchemist. It took way longer than they anticipated. He said like almost 3 times the amount of time to make the Alchemist than they thought it was going to make. And with Psionics, he said that work is going to be greater than that. So, yeah. So, but once again...
How do you make it unique?
Right. Psionics is going to be hard to do, but it would be cool. But like I said, Seb wants to do it. He's a big fan of them. He also wants to get the Githyanki into the game. He's been talking about that for years now. And that kind of goes with Psionics. So we'll see. Someday, maybe. They want to. We'll see. Class balancing, always an ongoing process, he said. So if X class doesn't get done next, maybe it'll be the next class after that. They're always looking at it. They're always trying to balance the game. Just don't think because your favorite class, insert whatever class here, hasn't got any love recently, doesn't mean they're not looking at it. They're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about what they could do for it. Always, class balance is always ongoing. And then they talked about the bows a little bit. It required a complete rework of the bow animations. And when that is done, the bow should be in a much better shape. He said the new bow tree that's going to come later will add a couple different bow options for you, but it's not considered a bow fix in of itself. The animation and the tree kind of go hand in hand to complete the bow fix. So I can't wait, being as I play a lot of Rangers, excited to see what this new tree brings, what the new animations bring, how well that'll work. Then they did talk about the Epic Destinies. The Epic Destiny trees are now going to kind of more function like the heroic trees do. So when you're in heroics and you're leveling up your heroics, you know how you get points. You're going to get a pool of points when you reach level 20 in your Epic Destiny tree. Then you're going to earn points each level. After that, to spend more points. You're going to be able to spend points on multiple epic destiny trees, kind of like you can in the heroic trees, for example. So you can be in one epic destiny tree, and then you can put some points into that, and then you can jump over. Let's say you want to add a little bit into one of the other trees. You can do that. So that's nice. They did look, which I thought was interesting too. They looked at what Epic Destiny trees were popular and then which ones were not so popular. And the not so popular ones, they're going to look at improving them a little bit to maybe make people want to say, hey, I'll spend a little points in this tree now because it might be a little better now than what it was. Then one of the major goals they had with this is through the pool of points and improving the overall effectiveness of the trees. They wanted to get entry into the Epic Destinies to be a little more enjoyable and a little more easier. So that's a good thing. So we'll see. To tell you the truth, I was kind of on the fence about this until I heard Sub talk about it today, and now I'm curious to play with this new setup and see if I like it more, because the way it is now is super confusing. I kind of have a better handle on it now that I've been in playing in Epic Destinies more, and I kind of have a little better handle on it, but it's still a little confusing. So I like the way they're going to do it much better. So we'll see. Then they talked about, question was asked, are we ever going to see Greyhawk in the game? Seb said, don't count on it. He doesn't think it'll ever happen. He did say that he didn't want to bring up licensing details and the process, which he's told us before too. When I've asked him several things about that, he said they don't discuss licensing details. So my guess is it's a licensing thing. He also said the scope of it would be a lot to do, but just probably never going to happen. So if you're holding out for Greyhawk, keep holding out. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, since someone brought up, say, oh, if you think Greyhawk is tough, think about Planescape.
Yeah, that said, that was also brought up Planescape, and that was another, yeah, probably not going to ever happen. He did say, though, just because Greyhawk is not in the game does not mean it's not in the game.
Well, yeah, there are Greyhawk dungeons that are
right
in the game.
Right. It's when you go to the Temple of Elemental Evil, you don't really know where you're going per se. It could be in Greyhawk, and you just don't know it's in Greyhawk. But yeah, but Greyhawk proper, probably never going to happen. Which I kind of always would have liked to see an expansion into Greyhawk. That would be amazing, but probably not. He did say they're going to do more Forgotten Realms stuff because people want to go back to the Forgotten Realms. They are definitely going to do that, and they want to do more with Eberron as well. Another thing on the wish list would be guild revamps. They would like to get more resources to do a full-on guild revamp for both games. It was interesting that he mentioned both games, but he didn't want to discuss anything further because he didn't want to get anybody's hopes up, but he does want to see a guild revamp, so we'll see what that happens. He said that's going to require more resources and more engineering, so we'll see. Again, on the table, not ruling it out, not anytime soon. Then, which kind of surprised me near the end, he said by the end of this year, he would like to see a new Iconic come into the game. He wasn't promising it. He'd like to see it this year. They're going to see if they can make it happen. But once again, no promises. And they kind of wrapped up the video with saying they like the response they're getting to these, like, kind of Ask Me Anything videos they do with Seb on the They're usually on the weekly Wednesday live stream is when they do them. So he said, look for more of these coming in the future. They plan to do them more often as well because the players like it because we get all this information and it just kind of makes Sev more accessible to us. Even though he does post on the forums, not a lot, but he does post on the forums. But this kind of makes him a little more up front and center to the community, and we can actually, see and hear his thoughts and hear him. So look for more videos coming soon. But that's pretty much just my little thoughts. Like I said, there was a lot more that was discussed, but that was just my kind of highlights that I had thought of when I was listening to this while I was preparing for the show this evening.
Whew.
Indeed. That is a lot of game news.
That's quite a mouthful, and it's not over yet because celebrate the 15th anniversary of DDO, and there is a rewards list thanks to the annex over the forums. Oh.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on. Before we get into that, you're telling me we're like 42 minutes into the show and we're still talking about DDO?
Yep.
What is this madness, Pine? What is this madness? 42 minutes of the show and we're still talking about DDO. Oh my God. Yes, the 50th anniversary is upon us. Yeah. And we do have a reward list. What happens? Well, let me read you the official statement that you can see over. I put the link in the show notes. You can go over to DDO.com and see this. Celebrate with free gifts for the 15th anniversary. This year does mark the 15th anniversary since Dungeons & Dragons Online hit store shelves, and many of us began a journey that continues to this very day. This year we do have new gifts, new rewards, and an update to the anniversary event. Your 15th anniversary gifts. Open the DDO store and you click on redeem code. You're going to type in this code, Happy15 DDO. HAPPY15 DDO. That is how you get your gifts. Once you enter your coupon code, this is the important part, you must log out and then back in to receive your items. It's could have been said today, it has to do with the way it flags your account. So just remember, once you enter that code, you're not going to see anything at once. You're going to have to log out and log back in. Once you do that, you're going to get your gifts. And the items are going to go into your ingredients bag. If you have one that is set to auto-gather, you can use this coupon code one time per account. Hence the word I just said, once per account. Server, use it wisely. Use your code wisely, one per account, through December 31st. So you got plenty of time. The coupon code is going to grant you 2 free gifts. 2 gifts. First one's going to be a 15th anniversary token. You're going to take this token and you're going to go visit the Jinn that is in House Fairlin. You'll see him standing, or Fjarlin, sorry. You'll see him standing there. You're going to turn that into him and you're going to be granted a choice of items that you can get. And these items happen to be from raids of the past, which we'll talk about that in a second. And that he's going to offer you that in form of ingredients barter box. So it's kind of like about how everything else offers. You trade him the token, box is going to pop up. You're going to see all the stuff you can pick from. You find what you want, you pick it, you get it. Remember, 1 per account. Choose your server wisely on that. Then the other thing you're going to get is going to be a 15th anniversary cosmetic cloak. This cloak is going to be bound to account, and the cloak, I should say, will be delivered to every future character created on that account. So you will get copies of this every time you make a new character.
Oh, as if storage wasn't enough of a problem.
Oh, I get all sorts of stuff, dude. When I create new characters, it's like, oh my God, look at all the stuff I have that I have no room for because I have no inventory space.
But yeah, that is a problem with it. If every single You get this on every new character item from Lotro. Arrived to me when I first created a character on DDO. I would literally have zero inventory space. And I probably have a buffer saying you need to clear out inventory so that we can bring in this thing. That is,
You are overburdened. You cannot carry all this stuff. Yes.
yeah.
So once again, that code is going to be Happy15 DDO. You have till December 31st to use that. The cloak, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, there is a picture of it on the screen now. If you listen to the podcast, I'll try to describe it for you. It's kind of a gray cloak. It's got red on the back of it. It's kind of like looks like red. To me, it kind of looks like fireworks almost. And then in the middle of those is a red D20 that is on 15. That's the best way I can describe it. As I said, if you're watching the YouTube video, you're looking at it. It's a pretty nice looking cloak.
Yeah, but in 5 years, we need to have one of those with a 20 showing.
Of course we do. They better do that for year 20. If not, they totally blew it.
Yeah.
Yes, but then your 15th anniversary token, as we said, you can trade that for raid items. A player called Annex over on the forums put together a list of everything you can choose from, and I have linked that in the show notes. So if you're thinking, what the heck can I get from this? Annex hooked us up. So thank you very much, Annex, for making this list. Once again, I said I linked their forum post to this. This is all, like I said, former raid items. So there's, I think, some pretty good stuff in here. Like the Quiver of Alacrity is in here. Shortest Shadows is in here. Circle of Malvalence is in here. The Epic Litany of the Dead. Boots of the Blessed Travels is in here. So there's quite a bit of stuff.
Quite a bit of stuff I'd never heard of.
Yeah, I knew Pine Leaf was going to be like, what? Who? What? What? Where? What? Who? So this is from several different raids. So choose wisely. Once again, once per account. If you don't want any of the raid items, if you're like, I don't care about any of that stuff, you can always choose 100,000 XP, or you can get 10 commendations of heroism. So not bad. And then for the anniversary event itself, it kind of runs the same way. They said there was some changes to it. I haven't ran it yet, so I don't know what changes they made. One of the biggest changes is there's now an item called Party Punch. This is available in the DDO store, of course. Costs you 25 DDO points, but that is going to cause party favors to drop from normal monster kills for 1 hour. You get 5% chance per kill. So if you want to farm party favors and you don't want to keep running the anniversary party over and over again to do it, you can go buy a couple of these party punches, do it. So it kind of works very similar to how the Drought of Midnight works in the Night Rebels. If you're familiar with how that works, this works the same way. So you can go just quest normally, but you have a 5% chance of getting party favors to drop from monsters.
I think they've... I'm sorry, but I have a feeling they need to change the way they spell draft if you keep on pronouncing it as drought.
Well, I've always called it drought. See, I've heard it both ways. It's supposed to be draft, I think, but I've heard it both ways. So however you want to pronounce it, there you go. Apparently Pine Leaf says draft, but okay.
Well, I think in American English they spell it Graft. So
but like I said, I've seen it spelled that way, and I've heard it pronounced both ways. So
okay,
however you want to pronounce it. But yes, so you can buy those. Once again, you don't have to buy these if you don't want to. You can just farm the anniversary event over and over and over again. Or if not, spend 25 DDO points. You can get party favors and monster kills. The new items from the anniversary party are for 80 party favors. You can get a red crystal crown. For 100 party favors, you can get a Rudy Dretchling certificate. Have not seen either one of these yet, so I don't know what either one looks like. The crown you can kind of see if you go over to the celebrating the 15th anniversary post. You can kind of see the side of the crown a little bit. You can't get a good shot of it, but at least you can see it. And then for 80 party favors, you can choose any one of the cloaks that you might have missed. That's for each Halth, Kenneth, Deneth, Galando, Jarasco, Kandaric, Lindar, Mendian, Orion, Fjarlin, Sibis, Thorask, Tharani, Vitalis, and then they did link images to all those cloaks if you want to see them. Once again, thanks Annex for putting all this together. So that's the new stuff from the anniversary. Once again, all these cloaks were the ones that were offered during the 13th anniversary. So if you entered the code every week and you got all of these, you probably already have them unless you did it on a different server or whatever. And then you can get them. But 80 party favors per cloak. So if you want to farm the anniversary event and get a bunch of party favors and get several cloaks, you can do that. But there you go. That's the anniversary event and what's upcoming.
Whew. That's quite a mouthful.
It is. That was a lot of words.
Yes. Then let's go over and see what's coming in from the dungeon. Where we have Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft Campaign Sourcebook coming to D&D 5th Edition. Ooh, more to Ravenloft?
And speaking of not seeing this coming at all, yeah, this announcement came out of nowhere from WotC. I don't think anybody's seen them doing anything else with Ravenloft. But, I mean, we knew that Ravenloft was, like, the Curse of Strahd was super, super popular. Apparently it was so popular they thought they needed to bring out another book for it, and this is what they're calling a campaign source book, which scares me a little bit.
Scares you?
Because they haven't done any campaign books at all for 5e, so I don't know if like I said, I haven't seen this book yet because of course it's not out. But it scares me that they're calling it this because you can't go half-assed with this if you're going to do a campaign source book. You got to give us a campaign source book. But they say this is a campaign source book. So we'll see. You can create terrifying characters with dark gifts that are going to provide role-playing ties to the domains of dread. They're also going to let us know about other of the domains of dread, because really all we heard about in Curse of Strahd was Barovia. So now they're going to open up the other domains of dread that are in Ravenloft and let us know. So you're going to have the dark gifts. You can also roll up a Dampier who has been created by a vampire. You can do a Hexblood descendant from a hag and a Revenant. They didn't call it a Revenant, but that's what it is. They called it a Reborn. Which I don't know why they didn't call it a Revenant in the source or the press release, but who's been brought back from the dead. And then they're going to give you 2 new subclasses as well, with a College of Spirits for bards and an undead pack for your warlocks. Also some new backgrounds. Once again, they're going to flush out the other domains as well. So a lot of stuff upcoming for Ravenloft. Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, coming out May 18th. So we actually don't have to wait real long for this either, which was another shocker. But yeah, this book scares me.
Scared.
On many levels, but we'll see.
We will see.
Like I said, I hope it doesn't scare me too bad because I'm going to have to do a review on this, and hopefully my review will be kind. We'll see.
We can only hope. I'm sure that you have high standards for a Ravenloft.
See, and that's the problem. And then plus two, the Van Richten books were one of my favorite books for the original Ravenloft campaign. So they're treading on very hallowed ground for me here. So
Okay.
we'll see what they do. Do want to point out, too, this book is going to come in 2 covers. Like always, you're going to have your standard retail cover, and then you're going to have a special edition cover for local game stores, which, I like the standard cover better, but we'll see.
Then let's head to our weekend gaming. Drac, what were you up to?
I played D&D 5e. That is all I did. I had another horrible week again. But I did kind of tease it last week that we were going to play Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We did episode number 9. Captain Morgan Pose is the title of the episode. You'll know why. Actually named the episode because I said that. Because, spoiler alert, so in case you don't want to be semi-spoiled for the episode. If you remember back one of our very first episodes, I killed an undead beholder that was in Waterdeep, terrorizing the city. I got my second undead beholder kill in the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I killed it. Thank you very much. So I was proud of my kills, so I was doing the Captain Morgan pose as I was posing on its dead body. And I was making sure Bonnie Bew knew that I killed the undead beholder. I was pointing at it and doing the Captain Morgan pose, so that's where the title comes from. But so there you go. So I linked that episode. It's over on Evil Beaker's YouTube. I linked it over in the show notes, so you can check out the episode if you want. Having so much fun in that game. That is one of my favorite games of D&D that I'm playing in, actually. It's just always so much fun. Even though I'm a stinking dwarf. That's for you, Beaker.
Well, my weekend gaming can be described in one word: Charterstone.
Yeah, that would take up a lot of time.
Yeah, it took up a... Yes, right. I played the entire Charterstone campaign since last week.
Wait, can you repeat that again, please?
I played the entire Charterstone campaign plus one post-campaign game since last week.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, that was quite a lot of time on Charterstone. That's right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. And if you think that's insane, soon after I finished that feat and got all that done, I decided to buy the app version.
Of course.
So I played the first 3 games of the app on the app. So it's the first 3 chapters of the campaign. So yes, a lot of time in Charterstone. But I did get one other game. I did finish up just today a game of Commands and Colors Medieval where we played the Udis River scenario. This is one where we have Attila the Hun attacking the Byzantine army. Or actually, I think the Attila the Hun is doing pillaging and the Byzantine army comes to try to stop him. Historically, it was a very bloody battle with the Byzantines being forced to retreat. In this run through of it, the Byzantines tore the Huns to pieces. There was one turn where I think the Byzantines managed to destroy 6 Hun units in one turn. And look at this as I don't think I've ever seen such a bloody turn in Commands and Colors before. It's like, boom, destroying the entire army. Boom, destroyed half of it. Okay, and force them to retreat. Okay, follow up. Boom, destroy the rest of it. And I just looked at that. I'd say I couldn't believe that happened in just one turn. Usually you're lucky to get 1 kill in a turn. Getting 6 of them? I'm sure if that happened in the real battle, there wouldn't have been much left of the Hunnic army for a few decades. And that describes my week in gaming. Charterstone plus some Commands and Colors.
I'm going to say, I just seen from the show notes, it's like, wow, Polly didn't do anything. But then I said, it's like, oh, now I understand.
The entire campaign, yes.
Well, it's because I thought, wow, you must have been doing like something else. And then when you said you did the entire campaign, I'm like, now I understand.
So you know how long that can take then.
Yeah.
Wait, did you ever play it?
I've never played it, no, but I have read reviews and seen reviews and heard people talking about it, and yeah, it can take quite a bit.
It could take quite a bit, even when you're doing a solo run of it. Now, I did it solo with 2 Automas all the way through.
Oh, okay.
We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, you can go to the donations page. We can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And we actually have a featured comment this week from Evil Beaker.
We do. He commented on the last episode. He says, I was going to try to do this in my Evil Beaker impression, but I don't think I can do it, so I'm just going to do it regularly. He says, "Stinking dwarf, damn right you are. You do realize the more you complain, the worse it'll go for you, right?" I know. I know. I have to poke the bear. It's fun. It's fun.
You like
It's fun to play poke the DM. It's fun. It's fun.
Ooh. We didn't receive any emails this week. We feel like since when you can send it to podcast at ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. The Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have Lotra Players News. You can join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.